Hey everyone, my name is Chris.
And I'm Wendy.
And we're Meeple Overboard.
And today we have great guests. We have Amy and Maggie from ThinkerThemer. Go ahead and introduce
Hi,
yourselves.
everybody. Well, I'm Amy, one half of ThinkerThemer. I'm the half that covers mechanics, probably the nerdier, drier one of the two of us. Maggie's my lovely partner.
Yes, Maggie, the themer.
The themer.
Yeah, so I'm all about story and like how well a theme is integrated into a game and how much you feel like you're in that world when you're playing.
Yeah. She's the creative, interesting one.
No, I wouldn't put it that way, but yeah.
Very cool, very cool. And so yeah, you two have a YouTube channel that has been very successful. Just today, Rodney Smith from Watch It Play highlighted you all on his Twitter account. So that must feel nice.
Yeah.
That was very surprising and so lovely. We've found support from so many different places that were unexpected. You guys have been super supportive of us. So we've only been doing this for a couple of months, and it was just, you know, when you start out, you're like, oh, if I have 10 people that watch a video, that will be just fine. But it's been really great. It's been a great journey.
Yeah.
And it's so hard that when we started, we're like, if 5 people listen to us, fantastic. And then you hit 10 and you're like, this is neat. Then you hit 30. And then for a while, you're like, why are only 30 people listening to us? We've been doing this for like a few months. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I can get to 50.
The ups and downs. Yeah. It's like, now I'm getting greedy. And I was like, no, it's not about the numbers. And that's it. Yeah, it's all the...
Yeah, numbers can be dangerous to keep watching.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah. As long as you're having fun, that's what we've learned.
And it's the thing of like, we're going to already be playing games. We're going to already be talking endlessly about games. So it's like, let's just have a camera going.
Might as
if
well.
anyone else enjoys it, then, you know, it's a bonus. Yeah.
Hey, that's fair.
So we're recording this as a live YouTube channel, and then we'll also be taking the audio and putting it onto the podcast. So you'll be episode 193 or something, wherever of the show. So,
Amazing.
You were exactly right. It is 193.
Sweet. Okay.
Wow.
Cool.
Amazing. It's almost like you saw that number earlier today or something.
Maybe we've been planning this for a while. Yes. So perfect.
We're so happy to be on your podcast.
Yeah.
Super
Thank
excited
you.
for having
So
us.
we have Amy and Maggie on for top 5 pointless games. And basically what that means is games that don't use points to determine a winner or a loser.
Yeah, this was a hard list to put together. Like,
So hard.
It was hard to get started.
Yeah.
yeah, but once I thought of a few, I was like, oh, but there's a few more. Oh, here's a few more. And so then it was fun because then it became difficult to whittle it down to just the 5.
Yeah, I felt like
Yeah,
initially I started with categories. I was like, oh, well, cooperative games, so many of those don't use points. Like, that's easy. I'll have a whole list of that.
Yeah, and it
Really
was hard to not find exceptions where it's like, no, wait, that's money. Money still is kind of points.
Yeah.
Right.
Or that's gems. No, that still counts.
And even within that, like, because I started going down that category path, and it's like, oh yeah, so this one, because it's technically like a cooperative, it's like, no, actually, that's still tracking points, or that's like, I hadn't realized how many games, even though they don't feel like it's a victory point thing, it is a points tracking sort of system.
Yeah.
So it made it challenging, but good. Yeah, as you said, like once you start getting in a roll, you're like, oh, that's right, that game doesn't have points.
And now
I
it was
love
like,
it.
how do we get it down to 5? There's too many now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now
There's
there's
some honorable mentions we're gonna have to include in there.
perfect. And I think that there are some that are also like, one could argue that this is points, but it doesn't function like points, and so I'm sure we'll talk about that when we get there. But first, of course, when we have any new guests on the show, we have to ask the most important questions first.
This is really why people come and listen to our top 5s. It has nothing to do with the games.
I assume so, yes. So when do you like this? Why don't you go ahead and start us off with the most difficult question that everyone has to answer? The gauntlet of I've never watched Survivor. I'm trying to think of something like clever, like the gauntlet of. I keep saying gauntlet.
Okay, with all that great buildup, the question is, how would you describe yourself as a flavor?
As a flavor. Well,
Can we describe each other?
Yeah. Is it allowed
Ooh,
if I
okay.
describe Amy?
Or is that a technicality?
Only if you agree on it.
Okay.
All right.
I
So
accept.
I would describe Amy as salted caramel. I think because, well, one, she loves salted caramel, and she's quite sweet, but she also has a little bit of, that kick as well.
I'm an
but
acquired
together, salted caramel. I love salted caramel from the first time I came across it. So yeah, that would be my thing. And together, like that combination is just perfection. That would be my pick for your flavor.
So salted caramel and not chocolate with peppers in it, like cayenne or something like that?
No, specifically salted caramel.
Okay.
I did actually suggest chili as my flavor.
Why did you say it?
I said because you can only have it in small doses.
That's why we're not doing the top 10.
Yeah. Well, and we haven't really had each other in small doses because we've been in lockdown in Australia for the last 8 months, not being able to leave the house at all. We've had really, really strict lockdown though, so I can vouch that even all day, every day, it's fine. It's actually even more enjoyable.
It's okay.
It's okay.
And then for Maggie, my thought was her flavor would be pina colada because everybody loves a pina colada. No one dislikes a pina colada. And also, okay, I found the only person.
He's anti-coconut.
Okay.
Really? Well, I'm tropical as well. Like I'm
that's right.
South
Maggie's
American,
Venezuelan, and so she always there's always a tropical vibe about. And also, it reminds me of the song "If You Like Pina Coladas," which yes is about infidelity, which is a bit strange, but it also has that like playful vibe. And Maggie is very like happy all the time,
yeah, which is a fun thing because like as the themer, I'm the one that also listens to lyrics. So she'll be singing it without realizing. I'm like, you realize what that song is about, don't you? It's like, it's about infidelity. And it's like, what? It's like,
no idea.
Yeah. It has a happy ending, but.
It's about re-fidelity.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Re-fidelity. That's a very good way of putting it.
Yeah. I am the person that can have a favorite song and I'll jam out to it like 10 times in a row. And then I'll sit there one day and, oh, that's what the song's about. Oh, okay.
Yeah, me too.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right, so Chris, without any further ado, what is the second question we always ask?
Of the gauntlet. I said it right this time. So the second question is, how would you describe your ideal game night? Not necessarily the game night that you have the most, especially in the last 8 months, but what would be your ideal?
No pandemic included.
Yeah. Probably, like, we've got our group that we play with that are like heavy gamers that love the dry Euros like we do. And we usually will have dinner beforehand and then we'll start gaming, and then halfway through we'll either halfway through a game or in between games we'll have dessert. And it's just
we always have a cup of tea.
It's just delightful.
It's just nice. It's a good time.
Yeah.
I miss those times.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can get them back starting from next week.
Yeah. But I think a pretty quiet, low key.
Yeah.
Kind of winter night, maybe, the heaters go, fire's going, and then you've got your cup of tea. It's perfection. Yeah.
Nice. I personally love the, like, after a huge long convention or big event or something like that silly wind down at the end when you're just pulling out like lots of small little games and you're just laughing at them.
Oh yeah.
But yours sounds really nice too, like kind of just low key and chill the whole time.
But with a really heavy game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're standing at the edge of the table by the end, the last round is so everyone's just like standing, going, okay, pacing, going, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like that panic, last minute. So it's like calm at that point, but with a cup of tea on the side. So it still like goes back to
calm tea and panic. Sounds like a spa, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna dig in your muscles and then we're gonna make you relax.
That's it, exactly.
Cool. So we have a few people in the chat as well. So yeah, if you have any games to recommend at the end as well, go ahead and recommend them. So let's jump into our top 5 now. So top 5 games that don't use victory points because, and we were talking about this before, Amy and Maggie, that some of your favorite games, a lot of our favorite games are you have those big turns, you really plan things out, the last few moves are really big, you're standing on the edge of your seat because at the end there's going to be a reckoning of victory points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's very often the types of games that we play. Feast for Odin. For you, I know one of your favorites is Great Western Trail, and we love Terraforming Mars. Like those games that just have that excitement at the end. Let's tally up all the little things.
Yes. Yeah.
So this was hard to pick not those.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, a lot in our collection though.
Yeah.
Like once we started thinking about it, we're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and that one, and that one, and that one. Yeah, it was an interesting exercise. Yeah.
Cool. Actually, a lot of these are not in our collection or aren't in our collection anymore or anything,
Yeah.
but we've played them and really like them. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is, but
We rotate our collection a lot. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we rotate through. All right, well, let's go ahead. How about we do Amy, Maggie, Chris, Wendy, and then each number we'll go ahead and rotate. Who starts?
Oh,
Does that sound like fun?
Okay.
Should I do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that.
okay. So Amy has the first player token.
oh,
and
the
then-
pressure. The first place.
Chris,
I gotta
does
say,
number 5.
I really enjoy watching your solo reviews where you constantly joke about who has the first player token. It gets me every single time when I'm watching. Okay, my number 5. I don't have a copy here with me because we gave it as a gift actually to my sister and we played it with them. Betrayal Legacy.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you guys ever played Betrayal House on the Hill?
One time.
Once.
One
yeah.
time?
One time.
Yeah, I think this has made my list, which would probably surprise a lot of people that know our taste because it's not the kind of game that we would normally get into, not thematically, not mechanically. It's kind of semi-cooperative, but the legacy campaign element of it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
And there are no points. The way it works is that you're kind of revealing tiles to build out this haunted house. And in the beginning, you're all collecting items and you're equipping yourself with weapons for the unknown haunt event. And when that happens, someone is randomly allocated as the traitor. Or it could be that all of you are fighting an unknown presence, or it could be 2-on-2. So you never know how it's going to kind of split. But then you have to go to separate rooms. You've got to read up what the winning condition is for whatever role you're playing. And then you come back together and you play that out. And it's not really, there's no points. It's just either you win or you lose, like a co-op game. But it was so much fun. There was a lot of narrative, which isn't usually our thing. But, we had a lot of fun with this one. You play out a family as well. And so every time you play a new round, there's 13 rounds in the game. Every time you play a new one, you come back as like your ancestor.
Yeah, it's a different generation.
Different generations, so you get to
family that you
rename
are.
them. And any weapon you pick up, you get to name it as well. And so there's a lot of like fun things that come up along the way. It was just a really great experience. So that Betrayal Legacy was my number 5.
Very cool.
That sounds
very
like
cool.
fun.
Yeah, we've not played the legacy one at all, and I imagine it would be better in terms of like just trying to make things a little more even kilter. But I've also heard sometimes it could just get wacky, and I think you have to have that right mindset of like,
Yes.
Yes.
this is not meant to be a finely crafted, perfectly mechanically level experience. Like you're playing a mummy movie, a zombie movie, or a Martian movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's very random, and you just don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, we just went in there going, okay, let's experience this new type of game. And so we came at it from that perspective, and we just had so much fun. And we played all 13 episodes.
And it was good to get in the mood. Like we had music going, so to kind of get us in that
Scary.
the scary, creepy mood.
Nice.
And then and with the legacy, like again, like you don't know what's going to be good later on or what's going to actually play a big part. And so much of the fun is just the betrayal side. You don't know who all of a sudden this round or this episode or this year will be the traitor. So sort of like and you yourself don't even you yourself don't even know. So it's a lot of fun.
Very cool. All right, Maggie was next, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. So my number 5, we do have here, and it's just like it's a party game. It's a fun game. It's Telestrations. So we just absolutely love Telestrations. It's so easy to bring any kind of group, non-gaming group even. Just to play essentially your Chinese whispers where you're writing, you all have your little notepads, and so you have a particular word, you will write that word, then the next person has to draw it, and then the next person has to guess the drawing and write one word of what they think it is, and then the next person has to, so you're constantly guessing on the previous guess, and because of the drawing element,
things
hilarity
get lost along the way.
things get lost in writing translation and drawing translation, and hilarity ensues. So for that reason, it's my number 5. There's no real points. I think you can have some kind of point system, but we have never ever played with points. It's just the hilarity of like what it ends up being. By the end.
We have kept so we always we learned this as just like a at home pull out piece of paper and hand out pens.
Yeah, telephone Pictionary is what we called it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you just made up a weird sentence. And so
Yeah.
you draw the whole sentence and yeah.
We have had
like
so
fun.
much fun with it that we've like literally kept sheets of it and then pulled them out years later and just laughed at them. Like it's so good.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so good. And we always make people, whoever's got the pack last or when it comes back to you, stand up and present it to the group,
Yeah,
like
narrate
the
the story.
sequence of things. And it's just so funny. Yeah, it's really good.
So good.
Oh, definitely. All right, Chris, what's your number 5?
Okay, my number 5 is I have actually forgotten what it was really quick. Okay, so I was just like, oh, this is so nice. Wow, I love listening to this. Oh, I have to do something. My number 5 is a game called Taluva. It is a very strange one, and it was one that I wasn't even sure if it was going to make this list because it's not necessarily one of my favorite games, but it is one of my favorite win conditions that has nothing to do with like point accumulation, I guess. But and so as I kept thinking about it more and more, that I really do like it. And I do really like what you have to do. So you're laying out these tiles, and they're basically 3 little hexagons smooshed together. And so there's like these little 3-pointed tiles, and you have to make this island. And so it's like a very strange, it's already like a hard Carcassonne type thing where you're all building the same little island area. But you can also build vertically higher. So once 3 of these tiles have been pushed together, then you can build up it. And what you're doing is every time you lay a tile, you also get to add a house out onto it. And once you have enough houses in a group together, when you lay out a tile, you can add a special building, like a temple. And if you ever get to 3 stories tall, you can build a third type of building, which is like it's a wooden meeple building because it's a Euro game, and I don't know what the theme is, right? But you're trying to build out these 3 different types of buildings, and the winner is whoever can finish putting out all of 2 of a type of building. So either all of your basic houses, which is hard to put out that many, but you have, or it's either the easiest one to put out, but you have the most of them, or if you can build 2 like temples, which are the hardest ones to build, or 3 pillars. We'll just call them pillars. And so you like each one is built in a different way, and you have to do strange different things. So it's arguable. Is that really just points? But it's kind of like you have 3 different types of points you could do. But no, no one thinks of it as like a points game. It's about running out your set of buildings. And so it's really strange game. It's on Board Game Arena, and so I've been playing it more since the lockdown. I played it once in person. I didn't really care for it. But one of our friends in our game group, likes it and keeps wanting to pull it out. And so I've kind of come around on it. It's really neat.
And I have not played it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sounds interesting though.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is it just 2-player or is it multiplayer?
It's multiplayer. I think it's 2 to 4.
Okay.
I have also
I've
lost
tried
it
it.
every time.
We should have a game night, all 4 of us, and Chris can win because he's the only one who knows how to play.
Yes.
Just do that thing where you don't quite explain the rules correctly, and then at the end it's like, oh, by the way, you needed to do this. I think I mentioned it, but anyways.
I didn't mention that I can build this volcano on top of your house. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Actually a rule in the game. Actually an important one, yes. Alrighty, Wendy, you're number 5.
All right, my number 5. So just for my precursor for my list is I basically had so many games I wanted to pick that I kind of picked one per category. So
Yes.
Fugitive is my hidden movement game. Because most hidden movement games is whether or not to catch person. But I really like Fugitive. So it's a 2-player asynchronous game by Tim Fowers. And you're both collecting cards from the deck, but depending on how many footsteps are on the card and basically what can be played. And so one person is trying to want to run away after they've done this big heist and get to an airplane, and the other person is the marshal trying to find them based on the cards that they have in hand and the things that have been revealed to them. So that game is super fun. It's very quick and easy, and it's a great 2-player game, which now is the days of 2-player games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Actually, because it's the time of 2-player games, we've bought it, and there's a copy sitting
Yeah.
just behind us, but we haven't played it yet. But I'm so excited that it's on your list.
Yeah, we don't usually play 2-player games. That's the thing. It's like it's only just been because of the pandemic that we're now like we're each other's only like co-player. Yeah.
But that one has been highly recommended to us.
Good. I think we've been having some technical trouble. I think our live stream might have like ended at one point and restarted or something. So
Oh no.
we'll just keep pressing forward, and I think people in the chat are saying it's okay. So
Okay.
Okay.
yes,
Hopefully it's
technology.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and pass the first player token over to Maggie, so you can start with your number
right.
4.
How about really
Number
quick, can we-
4.
just because of the
Oh.
just because of the technical, can
Should
we
we
just go
review?
through and each say what our number 5s were, starting with Amy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What was my number 5? Betrayal Legacy.
Yeah. My number 5 was Telestrations.
Mine was Tuluva. That's right.
And mine was Fugitive.
All right. Yes. So let's
Awesome.
start with Maggie.
So number 4, another party game. And again, part of when I was deciding what was going to make it to the list, it was which ones are the ones that I love playing the most, that I enjoy playing the most, or when it, whenever it comes up, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So went with Just One. I don't know if you can see it, but Just One, very fun, very easy game. You get to you've got one word, and then everybody will try and give you clues with just using one word. And again, it's one of those hilarious games, because if any words that match of the people that are trying to give clues, obviously no one knows what word they're writing down, then they cancel each other out. So you can end up with some very obscure clues for something that's like, yeah, it's great game. Very simple, very quick. Everyone loves it. Don't have to be a gamer to get into it and have a great time.
Everybody loves it. It's so true.
Yeah.
Now,
Should I point to him again?
You hate
No,
it.
I don't actually know.
no, I think we've played this once.
Have we played this
Yeah,
once?
one of our last
Just
times at Meepleville before everything
Just
locked
once.
down. Just once. Yes, there you go.
Did you love it?
I quite enjoyed
Or is it
yeah.
coconut?
No,
Controversial.
I loved this a lot more than I love coconut. That's for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't make my list. I like it okay, but everybody else likes it when you bring it to anyone, like any party
Very
or
popular.
anything. Everybody loves it.
Yes.
So it's a crowd pleaser.
Yeah. I think it gets a bit of hate because it's such a crowd pleaser. It's like, oh, it's so mainstream. It's so like, meh. But it's just a fun game. Like, I genuinely love it. So, yeah. And there's no points. Again, I think that you could make a point variant, but no one bothers. It's just hilarious.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, isn't there like per the rule book like a point thing? Like we're at the end, like, oh, did you get all 5 cards? Or, but I don't think
Yeah.
anyone. I would say 90+% of people don't
And
care.
just having a drink and playing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 All right. Very good. I like that pick. I like it more than pina coladas. But I do like getting caught in the rain. All right. My number 4. It's going to me next, right?
Yep.
Perfect. So my number 4 is Power Grid. And this is another one that involves a certain number of thing at the end of the game, but I don't think anyone ever looks at it and just says, well, that's just victory points in disguise, right? Because you're building up a network on this map of different cities that you're trying to power. You have to auction off different types of power plants so that you can try and power as many of those cities as possible. Because at the end of the game, once the trigger happens, once someone has built their 17th connection into a city, then whoever can, at the end of that round, power the most cities is the winner. And that to me always feels like a very distinct type of thing to do. You know, no one's sitting there at the end saying, okay, I got 7 points for having the most sheep, and I reveal this card, and I got, I mean, it's what can you do right now, go. And I like that. It's a very abrupt ending. And like, remember the first time that I played, I almost thought like, I'm not sure if I like this, but I don't know. It's definitely something you're constantly keeping your eye on. You know when it's hopefully close to coming up, and so you're setting yourself up for it. Power Grid's a great game.
It's a good game, which we haven't played in a really long time.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, we have never played it.
Yeah. It's one of those.
Which is embarrassing.
So
But
embarrassing.
it's like, I always look at the box and think, I wish someone would teach me that, but I just can't. Like, I don't know if I could get into the rule book of that.
Yeah, there's always there's those games that you have like you need to play them, and like I know that I would get into it, but there's so many other games as well, and it's like when you're putting them all in the balance, like, oh, but let's go to this one. But there's just always something shinier distracting us from it. Yeah. But yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah, it's an
try.
oldie but goodie.
You can teach us one day.
Yes,
perfect.
It'll save us having to read through the rule book.
Shiny is absolutely not the word I would use to describe Power Grid. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So very easy to be like distracted with something shinier. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and Paul also mentioned it's not good with 2. And so that's one of the big things.
That's why we don't have it in our collection. We did for a while, a short stint, but yeah, we just didn't play it very much. The
How
two
many
of
does
us
it play?
Up to 6.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I don't think we've ever played it at 6 though. I don't think I have.
I have once, and
I think I played it at 5.
Many games are like up to 6, and you're like, no, thank you. You know.
Yeah. 10 hours later.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. It was also 6 experienced players.
That helps.
So yeah, I think that made a big difference.
Yeah.
All right, Wendy, number 4.
All right, my number 4 is my word-based game. I'm just putting categories on these for fun now. So my game is Decrypto. Decrypto, essentially, you have 3 words and you have certain orders that you're trying to put them in, and you give clues based on those words, and then the other team is trying to figure out, based on your list of clues, what the words are, what the secret words are. And so it's a fun little game. There are no points. The way you win or lose is how many times you've messed up, essentially. So, yeah.
If you mess up or if you catch the other person's sequence,
That
if you
too.
can figure out what their words are, it's really good.
That's a good game. I've played it. I don't think you
I
have.
haven't played it.
I played it at a con, so yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's not quite a party game. It feels like it should be a party game because it can play up to 8 players, and it's best at 4 to 8. But it's not a party game. It's too complicated for that.
Yeah, a bit too thinky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a much thinkier code names, and we really prefer it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yep, that's my number 4, Decrypto.
And Amy, round us out.
My number 4 I have here, which is the Resistance Avalon.
Okay.
So it was actually one of the first kind of deduction, deception kind of games that we really got into. So if you haven't played it before, everyone has a hidden character and you're going out on a quest and you don't know who is good and who is evil, and the quest will either succeed or fail. And it's, the first team to succeed at 3 quests. No, the team needs to succeed at 3 quests or fail at 3 quests. So that's kind of points, but not really. It's just 3 quests. But I love it because there's this character called Merlin that you can be assigned to, and Merlin can actually knows who is good and who's evil. But if the evil team guesses who Merlin is, then they automatically win. And so Merlin has to subtly give clues to the good team about without being too obvious. And that makes a really interesting gameplay. And Maggie is almost always randomly assigned Merlin.
Very strange.
Which we joke about a lot in our gaming group.
And you're often evil.
Is
you're
it Maggie?
evil.
And I'm always evil.
And when she's not, then she still has all the fingers pointing her way. Oh, it's Amy. Yeah, lots of fun.
But that's my number 4 is Avalon.
Nice.
Very good. Very good. We've never played the Avalon version. We played Resistance a lot.
Yeah.
And then Good Cop, Bad Cop is the other similar social deduction game. That one I was thinking about for a little while, putting on here.
Yeah. And actually they've just remade Avalon as well into a new game called The Quest, I think it is. And they've also reprinted Avalon with a different art style.
Oh, okay. Did not know that. All right, so
Kickstarter.
Yeah, Amy lives in Kickstarter, so if it's in Kickstarter, she'll know about it. Yeah.
That is true. Yes, that is a world I don't reside in, which is probably good for our bank accounts.
Yes.
Stay safely
so
away.
Dangerous. Yeah.
All right, well, I think we're on to number 3 with you, Chris.
Number 3 with me. I hope that we're still streaming. If we are still good in streaming and everything, then let us know, because I keep getting an error on my side, and so hopefully this is working. All right. So my number 3 is a game called Risk Star Wars Edition. And this is the two-player only version where it is the two-player only version where one player is playing the Empire, the other side is playing the Rebellion, and it's really neat. On top of being asymmetric in terms of like player faction powers and stuff, it's also the goals are different. One side is up, he's trying to blow up the Death Star, which is a great feeling. And then the other side is trying to just crush the Rebel fleet completely. It's the ending of Return of the Jedi, and I just adore this game. It's a neat, small, little, simple war game, and it's that's a category game that we don't play very often, because I tend to really enjoy it more than Wendy, but even at that, I don't always enjoy it. But it was one of the first ones that came to my mind when we were talking about this list.
And it has such a unique card system.
That's true.
I think that's what really sticks out to me about it. I don't love it, but I'm fascinated by the card system.
And you're big Star Wars fans as well.
Yes, I almost pointed to my shirt because half the time I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt.
Yeah, you are. Usually.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, oh, man.
We're superheroes today.
Yes, I love it.
Not on purpose. All right, so my number 3 is my party game of my list, and it is Werewords, which is also a word game, so, we'll fudge that a little bit. So I'm not a big party game fan. I can handle 1 or 2 party games, like 1 or 2 rounds of a party game in an evening, and then I'm done. Super done. But Werewords is one of those that I can really enjoy. It's got that werewolf thing of like you have to figure out who the werewolf is, and the werewolf can do their own thing. So basically the werewolf's trying to guess the word, right? I feel like I haven't played this in forever. Now I'm going to mess up the rules, but
we played it at the convention that we went to.
Yeah.
That was only 8 months ago?
8 months ago. But yeah, essentially it's like 20 questions. You're trying to figure out what the secret word is, without the werewolf being able to guess who the good people are and stuff.
Yeah, I heard about that one. We haven't played it, but it's a fairly new one as well. Like last year, maybe?
Last year or two?
A couple years ago, I think.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
this last year has just slipped away, so I'm going to say 2 years ago for anything. Because,
It's like, what is time anymore?
yeah.
True, so true.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you like word games, it adds that element in with the party games that makes it more thinky and more meaningful for me.
Yeah.
Nice.
And this is a game
Yeah,
that
I
we
like
have
it.
played like round after round after round. Like
Yeah,
at the
I
end
played
of
it for like an hour and a
yeah.
half straight, and so
yeah.
yeah.
A rarity for
For me.
for you especially, yeah, for both of us.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Amy.
My number 3. I realize I keep showing you the boxes, but this is a podcast, so that's really useful to all your listeners. But the next one, my number 3, is a game called Devon. Now, I don't know if I'm saying that properly because it's part of that GIF series, the GIPF series, which are a whole heap of different but very similar abstract games where you've just got usually a pretty simple board and very simple pieces, and then it's kind of chess or checkers-like in its strategy. And Devon is my favorite of that series. I do love an abstract game. Maggie, obviously, because they have no theme.
That is the pain of my existence.
I have to find someone else to play with.
Yeah.
So
No, I refuse.
I don't think we ever play this together.
Yeah.
But you have 23 white pieces, 23 black pieces, and 3 red pieces, and you're just creating stacks. So you're moving your piece on top of another stack, and then if it's a 1-piece stack, you can only move it once. If it's a 2-piece stack, you can move it twice. And so on and so forth, until all of the pieces kind of get subsumed within each other. And the other cool thing is if you actually disconnect yourself or your opposition from one of the 3 red discs, it actually falls completely off the board. And so that's when it gets quite aggressive. And at the end, it's just the person who has the majority share of the pieces. So that's my number 3. Maggie hates it. It would never be on her list, and I love it.
And it's just because I'm like, but why? Like, that's what the thing with like any abstract. I'm like, but why do I want to do that? But why? Yeah, because it's just all about the abstract strategy. No,
Pure mechanic.
no, I need a world. Why am I doing this? Why doesn't this look like a piece of wood or a fish or something?
We're moving fish around. Stacks of
Yeah.
fish.
Yeah. thematically, does it work? Yeah, it's challenging.
Paul in the chat says he's more of a Yinch fan
Oh,
because
I have you as well.
I also don't play it. No,
Yeah.
you don't. It's an enemy game.
I've not played any of the games in that series because abstracts are really not our thing. Because I don't know, so many of them I feel like we're just playing until someone makes a mistake, and then that's when you win. I don't know, but maybe there's more to it than that.
I also just
Oh,
don't
no,
love.
that's the joy.
That's the joy. Okay.
I also just don't love in abstract games where I think that you think that I think that you think that I think that you think that I'm going to do this, so I'm not going to do
Yeah.
that. I'm going to do the other thing. Like,
Yeah.
I always feel like I overthink it and that I mess up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're describing chess. I love,
Just-
love, 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 love.
I'm out.
Anticipation of someone else's move.
Yeah. No.
And
I'm
and,
out.
and there is more to those games, but I'm also just not smart enough to be like, I'm gonna set a trap and I'm gonna make this feint and I'm gonna I don't know. But
Yeah. I'm the same. It's like I can't get myself to that point where I can just sort of get into that strategic mind that it's like trying to mastermind the takedown, and it's not a pleasurable place to go to for me as the fun-loving
It's a very
gamer.
quiet experience too. It's very heavy
But
concentration.
I think it's like intense and focused, and it feels heavy to me. But maybe it's just I'm too much of a flower child.
and okay, well, speaking of, why don't we go over to your number 3 then?
So my number 3 is Pandemic. Pretty much just pick any Pandemic that you want. Probably the one that we played the most is Legacy Season 1. Because again, like you're not really, it's not about points. It's whether or not you manage to make it through and not have the world succumb to the infectious diseases that you're trying to tamper down. So it's just fun. I'm a healthcare professional, so back in the day, pandemic, like, yay, this is fun. Not so much this year. This is fun at all. Yeah. And it's actually a pretty good, like from a thematic point, pretty good integration of a lot of elements in terms of infection control and how a pandemic will play out, or epidemics and things like that. So yeah, I really, really enjoy it from that point. And there's no points. Yeah.
Have you played
That's
season 2?
Not yet. No. Or 0.
Or
Yeah.
0.
Yeah, we're excited about 0. We don't have it yet.
Not yet.
Soon.
Just anxiously waiting for it to land on our doorstep, though.
Yeah.
Ooh, is it going to appear in your list? That's
Ooh.
the question.
We shall see. I
Secret
actually,
secrets.
I don't. I mean, this was just for me. I didn't put any cooperative games on there, and I'm not exactly sure why. Because I feel like maybe it's because most cooperative games don't have points. So I don't know. I had a weird mental block where I wanted to focus on other ones. So
Yeah. Make it harder for yourself.
So spoiler,
I
there
guess
is
so.
a cooperative category on my list.
oh,
Hey.
It may or may not be Pandemic.
Stay tuned.
You shall see.
yeah. Okay. So I think that
It's actually my turn now, I think.
have you done your
Yes.
number 3?
I've done we've all done our number 3s.
Okay, that wraps up number 3s. We'll
Okay,
go over to
so on to my number 2.
number 2s.
With Chris's fancy number 2 changing.
Oh, I wish
You can't see it. We'll see it later.
It looks really cool.
Oh.
Okay, so my number 2 is my Euro for the day, and it is a dice-based Euro. It's Raja's the Ganges.
Oh,
And so this is one where you actually have a score tracker across the board, but the unique part about it is that you have 2 different things that you're gaining throughout the game, and they have different weights. So you're earning money or income or whatever you want to call it. So you're earning money throughout the game, but then you're also earning fame. And the way that the game ends is that when your fame track and your money track cross, then you've triggered the end of the game, and whoever's crossed the farthest is the winner. And so it's not points, even though when I actually play it, I call it like fame points and I call it money, but the way that it works at the end isn't points. So I figure it counts. But it is a dice
Can
placement
we allow
game.
it?
I would allow it. Yeah, I think like that. Yeah, it's because of the way it comes together.
Yeah.
It's
So you're not
really a
counting points.
straightforward- Yeah.
Yeah, because I could be the only one that crosses and I win. So
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think it counts, but it's a dice placement game. So you roll your dice, you have them sitting in front of you, and decide where you want those to go at what level they are. So good fun game.
Paul says this is a double point game.
It's pointless.
I like it because of that approach, that mentality of like,
Yeah.
do I get them to cross on this side of the board or on the other side of the board or right in the middle or however? Yeah, so I like it. We'll allow it. We'll make that decision quicker than our glorious state of Nevada is making other decisions. Like in the...
One vote.
It can have an asterisk by it. That's fine.
Yes.
Number 2, sort of.
Okay.
Well, my number 2. Now I feel like all three of you, your eyes are just going to glaze over as I talk about my next abstract game.
Probably, but that's okay. The abstract fans.
Chris is not looking.
Where is my nail file? Got this.
Oh, this one's a really good one. So my number 2 is Shobu, which is usually recognized for its unique table presence because it has river stones as the markers, and then it's just 4 4x4 grids with a rope in the center, and then little rocks in white and black. And that sounds just like a boring abstract, doesn't it? I realize as I'm saying it.
But it has a rope.
The stones sound cool.
The stones are cool. And I think their motto is like beautifully challenging because the board is it is really gorgeous. And the wooden kind of boards that they're moving on. But the interesting thing about that game is that you have a passive board and you've got an active board. And when you're making a move on your side of the rope, it's a passive move where you can't actually knock the other person's rocks off, but it actually it gets mirrored on the other side of the rope. And so it's a very careful balance of not leaving yourself kind of out there to be knocked off on your opposition's active board while you're trying to get rid of their rocks as well. So it's like it's a really interesting mechanic that they've put in there. Probably not for anyone who doesn't like abstract games, but it's really, the more you play it, it's highly addictive. Like once you both understand how it works, it just goes backwards and forwards for ages, which sounds like your worst nightmare, Maggie.
It's one of those games that I've seen on the table and like it does look beautiful. It sounds interesting. The mechanics of it sound interesting. But again,
Maggie,
it's one of those.
Maggie actually has never played it.
I've never played
me
it. And Amy's played it so many times around me with other people. And I'm just like, I'll be over here. I'll be doing this other thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
But think, Maggie, it has a rope.
No.
A rope.
But why?
And river stones.
Not just
river stones.
Yeah.
Something parallel dimension theme. They're good enough, right?
Yeah. As you were saying that, my mind was like, so is it almost like you have an object and the shadow is what's getting control on the other side because it's kind of like a mirror and it's
I haven't thought about it.
Clearly. But it's like black and white. What color are the rocks?
Yeah, they're black and white. But the objective is, I should say, there's no points because as soon as you knock someone's 4 rocks entirely off one of the boards, then you win.
Sounds suspiciously like points, Amy. 4 points.
4 points.
4 rock points.
Yeah. Now we've both been towing, pushing that line pretty close. Very cool.
It's my turn.
Yes, Maggie. Yep.
Yeah. So we're at number 2. My number 2 is a super easy, super light little game called Robinson Crusoe. So easy. Anyone will vouch for this. It's just get through. So obviously in this game, and I usually we don't tend to play co-op, so I usually only play this solo, because that's co-op is like Amy's abstract for me. That it just doesn't. It's very hard. So that's why Betrayal was quite an exception. But in Robinson Crusoe, you are shipwrecked and you are trying to survive in this island, and it's very, very difficult. They have all these different scenarios, and it's just essentially staying alive for a set number of rounds based on whatever the scenario or the activity of the goal that you're trying to get to. But it's not points based. It's a lot of fun. It's incredibly thematically immersive. I love also like this. The small version for me is Friday, the solo game where you're Friday. Again, it's the same. It's Robinson Crusoe and Friday, but that one does have points. So when I first thought, it was like, oh yeah, Friday, I love this. Like, nope, that's got points. I believe it's because it's like you're trying to better your score every time. Not with this game, but it's the same thing. Like you're shipwrecked, and I do always feel like I am trying to like really harshly survive all these conditions, and mostly fail. I think I've only been able to barely one scenario, and I probably cheated without realizing. I feel like that's the only reason why I managed to get through it. But I still love the game.
That's awesome.
Have you beat the volcano one?
I think it was the only one that I did was the trying to make fire one, which I think is like the big, like it's almost like the tutorial. And then it's like I couldn't watch anything else. I think I tried. Then the second one was like no. So yeah, happy to keep trying. I'm happy to keep failing. The journey is it's fun.
Nice.
Have you played the Mars version? What is that one called?
First Martians.
First Martians, yeah.
First Martians. No, I haven't played because we're usually not into like space themed stuff. So like from a theme point, we usually kind of we'll go towards something else.
Yeah, which only rules out about 50% of this hobby. So.
Yeah.
It's like we're not into space or fantasy. So that's like 90% of the themes in this hobby are out. Yeah.
Well, cool. No, that's awesome though. Yeah, and Robinson Crusoe is a great theme, and we've won. We did the fire, like make the fire alert thing. We did that scenario. I think we won the first time, and we were like really careful with all the rules. I'm sure that we still accidentally cheated.
It's so easy. That's my biggest fear whenever I play a solo. Then I don't know if I cheated. I hope I didn't, but yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess my number 2 now. All right. So my number 2 is an abstract game.
Hey!
The truth comes out.
Shock horror.
He likes it more than I do.
It's Onitama.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was one that also came to mind pretty quickly as I was thinking about this list. And for someone that does not like abstract games that much, Onitama's great because it's very simple, it's very easy. Most people, I think, are introduced to chess at some point or other. You just have, I feel like most American households just own a chess set, even if all the kids do is just like smash the pieces into each other for a while. So, but I've never really liked chess, and I believe that that's the result of having a brother who is 5 years older than me, and trying to play a perfect information abstract game with a sibling 5 years older than you. You're just always going to lose. But I really like Onitama because it's what it does for me with the little passing of the cards. Like each piece doesn't have a unique move. It's just what cards you have in front of you. Choose one of them, and then that card, that particular type of movement action will get passed to your opponent. And I really like that. That part's just fun to me. It takes away, it alleviates a little bit of that like hard staring, planning, thinking, forecasting, and setting up traps and all that. And it's just kind of, someone in the chat mentioned that they really like to play abstract games more by the gut and just kind of feel it out. And I feel like this is one of the few that lets me do that and have fun with it. So that's my pick, Onitama, number 2.
Yeah, because you can only plan so far ahead, right, with the cards coming out. I really like playing this. The mobile app is really good.
Yeah.
For this game.
That's true. That is definitely true.
All right, are we on to number 1?
I think we are. Yeah, let's go ahead and...
Wow.
Final on the list. All right, Amy, you're back in the hot seat.
Ooh, I am. Do you know, I realized something funny is I was just looking at Maggie's number 1 and my number 1, and they are both kind of remakes of old games.
Really?
Yeah, there's a little hint about Maggie's number 1. But my number 1, chess aside, because chess to me is the ultimate pointless game.
It is pointless, I agree.
Pointless, yeah. I knew that was coming. But my mum taught me chess and would just never let me win. And so I think that's, why I'm so driven to mechanics now and like really heavy strategy is because growing up playing chess and getting brutally beaten constantly. But my number 1 is not chess. It is Awkward Guess. So...
Oh,
have you guys played it?
We haven't, but you just did a review of this one, right?
Yeah, we did, and it came out a couple of years ago. It was a Spanish game originally, but Awkward Guess is a remake or kind of spiritual reimagining of the game Clue, or in Australia it's called Cluedo, and where you're trying to work out who done it. So, but in the original Clue, you've got the room, the weapon, and the person. Whereas in Awkward Guess, you're trying to work out the person, why they did it, the weapon, whether they had an accomplice, and why the accomplice wanted to help them. So there's a lot more information that you're trying to deduce, and the way that you're doing that is by exchanging cards with other players that have little pieces of the puzzle written on them that are in the form of like police reports and things like that. And then you have a piece of paper that is the house plan for where Mr. Walton, the character, was murdered. And you're piecing together all of the information by crossing off, rooms that weren't accessed, or different kind of markings on his body, which gave you clues about how he was killed, what people were in which room at the time of the murder. And so you're all trying to race to solve the case. And it has an amazing integrated app where it allows you to type in your guess rather than, looking at an envelope and then having to sit out for the rest of the game. You just type in your guess, and then it very publicly has a cheering or a wow, 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 which is really depressing.
It's hilarious.
Hilarious, though, when you're really confident. You're
really
like,
exciting.
I know.
The suspense of what someone's about to guess. What's it going to be?
Yeah, as they're typing it in, and then it's like, they lost. So that's my number one. It is a fabulous game. We get it to the table quite often. It's probably best at like 4 or 5 players. It plays up to 8 as well, but again, don't go there.
You'll be there for a long time. Crowd pleaser, but not a party game, because it is actually quite like sit down and kind of play through in a more invested way, and you're kind of crossing things out and you're doing some thinking, and it's got a lot of strategy.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's my number one.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll have to try it sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great game. So is it my turn?
Yep.
Number one. Oh, my number one is Captain Sonar. So Captain Sonar, which is kind of like a reimagining of, is it Battleship?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you are playing 2 sides of, or 2 submarines. And the thing with this game is you need to have 8 people. So that's like, whenever we do have 8 people and that can play this sort of game, it's like, can we please? Because this is so much fun. You've got a divider. It just really sets the mood, because you've got a divider on the table, and you've got the 2 teams, or the 2 on the 2 sides of the 2 submarines, and then everyone's got their role, and it's real time. So it's a game in real time, and you're just trying to figure out where the other submarine is to sink them, like just shoot stuff at them, plant mines, and it's amazing. It's so stressful. You do feel like, you're sweating as instructions are being called out, and you've got the radio operator trying to listen in and spy on what the other team is doing. It's just exceptional, and there's no points. It's just you either get sunk or you sink the other ones. Really good.
So good.
Good game, yeah.
If I had been able to play this game more, I think that this probably would be like my number one. I agree.
I've only played it one time.
Oh, have you really?
Yep.
I think I've played it like 3 times or so, and it's so impressive to have the full, 4 people on one side trying to shout orders, and can we move north? No, Captain, because if we move north, this thing is going to blow up. Oh, it's so good.
It's just impeccable thematic immersion. It's just perfect.
Yeah, it's also good because the different roles, if someone's newer to the game, you can give them an easier role rather than pushing them straight into captain. Yeah.
That's
good.
Steer it all. Yeah.
That's so good. All right, so my number one pick. This is one that I had to... This one was not going to be my number one, and then my list kept shifting around little by little, and I ultimately decided on one of the easiest games, and one of the earliest games that we got past, like our first introduction was Dominion, and some of those like past Dominion and Seven Wonders, our first 2 hobby games. This was one of the earliest ones that we played, and that's Suro, the tile-laying dragons on the path game, or like little stones.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. We played it again, I was going to say like a few months ago, and I realized, no, we've not played games with anyone. So like February, I guess, of this year. We played it again because my brother's kids are now old enough to really enjoy playing it. They just love smashing the stones into each other, right? But they play the game, and they really do try to win. And playing it again, I just thought, this is amazing. I remember why this really simple game, lay a tile, and it has two paths on it, from each side, and you just move your dragon along it, and sometimes you whoop all over the map, and then you wind up on some other place, and you're just sitting there waiting. Don't someone crash into me? You just want to be the last survivor. That's all. And it's like the most epic game of tag, I guess. Tag the board game. You just don't fall off the edge and don't crash into another dragon. And it's so straightforward, but it's beautiful, and it's very enjoyable. And would one call this an abstract game?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
I like it though because I actually enjoy this game because there's a puzzle to it. It's not just I think this is where you're going. It's what can I do with the tiles that I have? How can I place them so that I'm nowhere near anybody else?
Yeah. Yeah, we played it only a couple of times, and I think it was actually at Meepleville in Las Vegas. I think Tim taught us.
Yeah. I feel like it was. I get the sense it was either at a con or somewhere where we were. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good game.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love it.
That's a good number one.
Thank you.
All right. Well, my number one was Spoiled. Thank you very much, ladies. No. My number one is my co-op category because I felt like just cooperatives needed to be number one because that was the very first thing I thought of was, oh, there's a gazillion co-op games that don't require points. So that's why it's number one. And it is Pandemic Legacy because regular Pandemic is fine. But we played regular Pandemic once and then we played Pandemic Legacy. It was just kind of to learn the game. And then we played Pandemic Legacy, and then we tried to play it again afterwards, and I was like, I'd just rather play Legacy. So that's why it's Legacy. Yeah. But great game. You mentioned basically everything before. Just fun to see the diseases spread, trying to contain it all, and just that rush to survive and find the cure, as we all feel that right now. Just rush to find a cure.
And Legacy is so good, too, because of the month-by-month way that they break down the game. And, you have new changing objectives a lot. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Great game.
Highly recommend Season 2, by the way.
I know. We need to get to that.
We're
a little behind now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very different, but I really like that they did something super different.
And the theme is good, so.
That's true. That's true.
Maggie just has to convince. She just has to convince me to cooperate with her. It's difficult.
You actually don't mind Pandemic.
I don't. There's very, very tension in Pandemic.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, great. Good list. Now, I know a few people in the chat have mentioned a few games, and also I think we all had honorable mentions because there's games that I wish I could have included on but the five are the five. But we can take a few minutes and talk about some other games. Did you all have any specific ones? You're like, this one almost there or anything?
Yeah, I had two, actually. I had a quick one, Bananagrams, which is the only tolerable version of Scrabble, in my opinion. Because you're racing to put letters together. There's no points. It's just the first person who has used all their tiles up once all the tiles have gone. So Bananagrams is really fun. And the second one was Web of Spies. I don't know if you've heard of that game. It kind of went under the radar, but it's a highly... it's basically the world map, kind of like the Pandemic board. But
similar,
you're traveling around from city to city and you've got spies that you can move around from city to city, and you're basically trying to kill everybody else's spies. And you've got defense cards and attack cards in your hand. And it's take that to the extreme, but it's so funny and random that it's just it's a joy to play because it's so brutal, because you can actually play a defense card, but then you can't refill your hand. And so if players in sequence pick on you, you can be eliminated pretty quickly. Yeah. So it's not fun if you don't take that, please don't play this game.
Yeah.
But there's no points. It's just, when you're taken out, you're taken out. So
and I usually hate take that. And so whenever we play this game, my tactic is usually to just stay out of the way and then have everybody kill each other and then just kind of be like,
and it works.
It really works.
A lot.
I'm everyone's ally.
Yeah.
You're the scavenger.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the
everyone else has
scavenger
grudges.
kid.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, let's like team up and like,
It's like it's fine.
and again, everybody likes pina coladas, so
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone.
Let's see. Oh, and Maggie, did you have a few as well?
Yeah, I had a couple of honorable mentions. Well, one was Fake Artist Goes to New York. I don't know if you guys have played this. The little one. Another great. We used it even as an icebreaker at parties where you're there's a it's again that kind of like that secret the word, and you can only draw, everyone's sort of drawing one part or just one line, trying to create one image, and one person doesn't actually know what the word is in the whole group, and so they're just kind of trying to like make it's the tension where you're trying to show enough that you know what the word is, but also not give away what the word is, so that the one fake artist doesn't pick up on what it is and is able to kind of guess it. So it's a fun little game. There's no points. It's just whether or not at the end you pick the right person. Go, you're the fake artist. No, you are. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, social deduction and deduction games fit like that's kind of like a category. A lot of the party games that can kind of be a category, or party games that have points but nobody uses them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a real
But
thing.
you could, but you don't really have to. Yeah.
So my honorable mention is Can't Stop. That's one that I thought of, and I was like, oh, that's really good, but it didn't quite make it on my list.
Yeah, just on the precipice.
Yeah.
One that we've only played one time, but I really, really liked was Skull. I don't know if you all played that one.
I know it, but we haven't played it actually.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Is that what we played
It
at?
looks so pretty.
Yeah, it's super cool. The little coasters, like you have little coasters as cards.
That's when we played at the convention, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We played that at Ice Tower West, and it's cool. It's just like a little elimination. Don't be the last person. Don't lose all your discs,
Yeah.
But it's fun to just sit there and watch people try and, call it. It's, I don't know, is it almost like a variation of like BS, like the card game sort of, it's that type of like, don't get knocked out. But also, I'm going to guess that our friend Paul in the chat would probably say Cryptid was on his, would be on his list. Have you played Cryptid before?
No.
Oh.
It's a very good little deduction game. So you have a map with it's just a little hex map with desert spaces and water spaces and mountain spaces. But the theme of this very boring looking map is that there's a cryptic monster hiding somewhere, and every person has their own little rule. So I have this rule that says the cryptid, or the cryptid is one space away from water. And everyone else also has a specific rule that it has to be followed, but we don't know what each other's are. And so we're just putting out little guesses. I put a guess right here, and then in clockwise order, Wendy says, yes, that follows my rule. And then Amy would say, oh, yes, it follows my rule. And then Maggie says, nope, doesn't follow my rule. And now everyone's looking at it going, okay. So this space, it's close to water. Maybe that's it. It's 3 spaces away from the green building. Maybe that's, and but you just keep guessing like that, turn after turn after turn. And it's a fantastic little deduction game. So.
How does the game set up? Like how does the game know the clues? So how does it figure out
the right combination?
Yeah, the right combo for whatever the case is, or like in terms of replayability, because obviously it can't be the same one every time. Otherwise, it'd be like, oh, that's where it was last time.
Isn't it just that all the clues have one potential answer?
Yeah. So there's only one actual answer. I don't remember everything because I didn't set it up. Our friend Paul taught it to us and set it up. But you set up the map in a specific way, and then based on that map setup, everyone gets a booklet, and we say, okay, we're going to pick rules number 6. So everyone goes to rule number 6 in their little booklet.
Okay. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a red, blue, and a purple and a green booklet or whatever it is. So, like, if you get rule 6, but you have the purple book on this particular map setup, and then the next game you play, the map is different, and so then the rule, and you get dealt the green book and rule 13, then, like, there's no way that you can remember
Yeah.
what every possible option might be.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, something like that. Paul knows it probably better than me. But I know a couple people mentioned here. Casey Williams said one of his some of his favorites. Oracle of Delphi. Have you played that one, Stefan Feld game?
No, I'm not.
Okay, really question for you. Do you care for Stefan Feld games?
Yeah. We're happy to try any type of game. Like, I would never categorically rule out any designers.
Just
So,
curious.
like, yeah.
Okay. Just curious, especially because thematically, he's always, you know?
He's got some new ones coming out there that are quite thematic.
And Oracle of Delphi is one of the most thematic of his games. It plays not too dissimilar from Castles of Burgundy. You roll 3 dice and you use them for different actions. It's very clever. And the theme is you're trying to complete like 12 Olympiad trials. Like you're trying to become a god of Mount Olympus or something like. It's like the most thematic game of his I've ever played. And
Right.
so, yeah. Casey also mentions Mysterium. That's a great pick.
Yes.
Schottentotten, never played it.
Oh, yeah. I've been trying to get my hands on that, actually, recently.
He also said Cryptid, because he's a smart man. And he also said Captain Sonar, because smart choice. Fjords, never played. And The Duke for the abstract category. So, yeah.
Fjords is being re-released, I think, soon.
It is. Let's see. And then any other ones here? Oh, Paul says Strike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Nice.
Yeah, once again, another don't get eliminated. So
Yeah.
I
very
had
cool.
bought these planter bowls for like $1 each, and then I ended up not putting flowers in them. And they were pretty shallow. I think they were actually salad bowls that I wanted to turn into planter bowls. And so we just played it with our daughter
Yeah.
because we couldn't get a hold of the actual game.
Nice. That works.
Yeah, exactly. You can hack the game, just do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is getting
Actually,
reprinted
that
now.
game is not common at all in Australia.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't even feel like it was that common in the U.S.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was in Target or something over there. I don't know why people are often talking about it. So, yeah, I've never seen it over here.
I don't know if I got a big print run outside of probably Germany or whatever, and then all of a sudden it just kind of caught on because a few different podcasters and YouTubers and stuff
Right.
host big tournaments of it at conventions, and all of a sudden people are now like, let's play this Strike game. And I'm sure Cosmos was like, okay, we'll reprint it.
Yeah.
It's super simple. Yeah.
Yeah. You want a box of dice for $25? You got it.
Yes. With a hollowed out center. Great.
Yeah.
We'll keep printing it.
This is a fun one. I don't have an answer for this, but Devin in the chat a little bit asked to go, would the Pokemon Master Trainer board game count as a point-based game or not?
I have
I
no
don't know
idea.
what
I don't know how that plays out.
Yeah, I don't know how the gameplay works.
Is that because you'd be doing damage or something, I imagine?
Yeah, a lot of I guess if you're doing that like whole taking
We're just guessing.
we're just guessing. So if you're taking someone down based on damage and it's not points, then technically that would qualify. Yeah, but
Yeah, is it
not
a tactical
sure.
game?
I have no idea. I've seen the board one time. But yeah, it does surprise me that there's not more Pokemon board games, because that
Yeah.
sounds like just printing money to me.
I guess because they have cards isn't it more like of a card thing with Pokemon?
They have to collect
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
And this was a fun
Thank
list
you
to
for having
do.
us.
Our pleasure. Yeah, thank you for having us.
That was so much fun. Actually, it kind of was so fun to think through victory points and just how prevalent they are in all of our games.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even the
yeah.
games that on the surface, you kind of go, oh yeah, that doesn't have points. You go, no, actually, no, it is points. It's very surprising.
Oh, yeah, that happened to me too. Like, I was thinking, King of Tokyo, that's like a knockout game. Oh, except for when you win by points.
Yeah.
Seven Wonders Duel. No, primarily you play to points. What was the other one I kept thinking? Root. I kept thinking of Root because it's a war game, conflict game, whatever. And then I remember, no, you're playing to 30 points, Chris. I've not been on it this week.
Yeah, no, thank you. Great topic. Good thinking,
Yeah.
Wendy.
Yeah, good
Thanks.
idea.
All right. So why don't you let people know if they are not following you yet, which they should be, where can they find you?
Yeah, so we're on YouTube. We have a channel called ThinkerThemer where we do mostly board game reviews. Amy does also Kickstarter diaries, so she goes through all of the money that we spend
Every week.
that we drain to Kickstarter campaigns. What else do we have? I've just started trialing a solo series where I'm revisiting some of the reviews that we've done, because we usually review games from a multiplayer point of view, and then I'm reviewing the solo variant because I'm the solo player of the house.
And the basic premise is the game better with Amy or without Amy?
Yeah.
So far, I'm 1 for 1 with Amy. So that's good.
So from the released reviews so far, it's better with Amy. Look at that.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that the solo's not good. It's just like, which one do I prefer? And,
Sure.
It's different aims. Yeah.
Well, so
you can find us everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere where
Instagram,
you find great content.
Twitter, it's all under ThinkerThemer.
Awesome. I also like that the thumbnail for the solo review was the same thumbnail as your, the two of your review, and you just crossed out Amy.
Yeah, she came up with that just as a disclaimer. She's like, you know what, you should just scratch me out.
Did the scratching.
She actually did the scribbling out. So, yeah.
So nothing vindictive is what you're saying.
No, not at all. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. And then we've also, we met primarily first through the Meepleville live chats on Thursday nights with Tim. And so if people aren't watching those, we'll be doing one of those this month and then one in December. And so go ahead and watch out for those on Thursday. Go and follow the Meepleville YouTube channel. Go ahead and follow ThinkerThemer. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having us. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was great.
We're Meeple Overboard. Thanks for watching.